You know, you would think that the world is about to end and we're going to run out of food, we're going to run out of fuel. There's some strange stuff going on right now. This is not a conspiracy theory thing. And, you know, normally I do videos here about Tesla, but this actually has more to do with Elon Musk than Tesla. So the Strait of Hormuz is now basically it's shut down, except for a few Chinese and Iranian and, you know, Russian, whatever, products, oil going through, stuff that benefits Iran. And as you know, there were talks yesterday in Pakistan that fell apart. So the president now, make it long, so you already know this, but the president now has decided we're going to blockade it. So we're just going to block everything. We can't just cruise through the strait, because it would be very easy for the Iranians to shoot drones at us and fire all this stuff at us. So we've decided we're just going to blockade it. So we're going to stop. We're just going to stop it. No more oil, no more gas, no more whatever else is coming through there. And I'm putting it in very simple terms here, but we don't need to get into the details. But an interesting thing happened. I'm from Ireland originally, and obviously I pay attention to what's going on in my home country. And there's been protests over the last couple of weeks regarding fuel. So the farmers and the truckers, they have basically been going into major cities and small towns, and they've been blocking traffic. They've basically shut down the country. And they're bitching about the fact that the government just take all this tax money and they pass it out to illegal immigrants and they pass it out to foreigners and they blah, 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 blah. That's not what this video is about either. It's not about immigration. But look, let's be honest. The people have a right to be pissed off. If there are people in your country, in any country, and if they're receiving free money from the government, and citizens and children of citizens that have been there forever and ever are not receiving the same, you know, rewards, then yeah, they have a right to be pissed off. Same thing is happening in America with immigration. I'm an immigrant in America. So I'm not anti-immigrant, but I'm also not pro come in and get free stuff. So, you know, as I say, it's really lonely here in the middle. But I want to talk about Ireland for a second. The government just today came out and said, listen, we are basically, again, layman's terms, we're basically going to start sending out checks, you know, to counteract this cost of living thing that has been caused by the fuel, you know, the war in Iran or whatever. Now, the reason the protesters were protesting was you make so much money on the taxes from the oil, from the fuel, from like a gallon of gas. Let's say, don't quote me, but let's say the tax on a gallon of gas in petrol, they call it in Europe, tax on a gallon of petrol is 50%, which it most likely is, maybe higher. Tell me in the comments if you think it's higher. So the people are saying, you know, this money goes to you, you're sending it to people that don't deserve it. So just take the tax off. That will drop the price, blah, 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 blah. And then tell these other people to go to hell. So rather than the government doing that, what they've decided to do is send out stimulus checks. Now, the same thing could happen in the United States. I'm not saying it will, but it could. And the reason that this has everything to do with Elon Musk is this. He has said that because of artificial intelligence, because of technology, because of solar, because of, you know, SpaceX, because of all these things that are coming, we will live in a world filled with abundance. Everything will basically be free of charge. Our productivity will be so amazing that there will be everything for everybody for nothing. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but one of the things that he talked about, and other people talk about, is universal basic income, UBI. Now, there are people out there, and I'm not saying this is happening, but I think there is some validity to the people that say, look, there's a new world order coming. We will be a one world order, and everything will be dictated by this tiny group of people who are not necessarily governments. It will be one government, one world government. And could this be the beginning of universal basic income? The reality of the fact is, there's going to be a transition from the system we have now to the system of, ultimate abundance. And that will be painful. So millions of people will lose jobs, and the government will have no choice but to feed those people in some way, shape, or form. Feed them, house them, clothe them, and everything else that goes with it. So is this the beginning of universal basic income? So you can't afford gasoline, don't worry, we'll give you money for that. What's next? Food? So you can't afford food, don't worry, we'll give you money. And then we'll just keep printing money and printing money and printing money, and the price of everything will go up. But then simultaneously, technology will be coming through, like Elon said. So let's look at Cybercab, for instance, or robotaxi. You won't need to own a car. It will be so cheap for you to just click a couple of clicks on your iPhone, and a car will come to your house. It will take you 5 miles, 10 miles, 50 miles, 20 miles at $1 a mile. You won't need to own a car. Consequently, you won't need to pay the maintenance in a car. You won't need to pay interest on loans. You won't need to, you won't need to pay insurance. There will be nothing. It'll be like riding a bicycle, and probably cheaper. And then, of course, technology will take over healthcare. So there'll be no need for health insurance because everything will be technology-based. The technology will be making drugs so cheap that the government will just be able to give them to you. Is this what's happening? Does anybody believe that this is not just Trump fighting with Iran? Does anybody believe that the government quite possibly are in on this? Now, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow morning when the markets open. I'm expecting, if oil is shut off in the Strait, you would imagine there's going to be this enormous crash in the stock market, right? Wouldn't that make sense? I mean, is this where we're going with this? I mean, does anybody think the market is going to open tomorrow and skyrocket because Trump just shut down the Strait, or is talking about shutting down the Strait? Or does he come out with a taco tweet tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.? And again, this is not a Trump endorsement or a Trump, an anti-Trump. I'm just trying to get the answers. So does he taco, as they say, in the middle of the night, so that when the markets are open, they're like, oh no, everything's fine. Let's, let the stock market skyrocket. Or is this actually the beginning of a transition to a world order? Very interesting, isn't it? Tell me in the comments down below. Elon Musk has talked about this for a long time. Many others have talked about it too. I want you to remember that term, UBI, Universal Basic Income. I think this is it. I think this is the beginning. Thanks for watching.